Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fadwa AlBawardi. I'm from Saudi Arabia. I have a consulting office in digital transformation back home. I have more than 23 years of working experience. My education is master's degree in computer science from Boston University in the US in 2003, so I'm from Generation X. And I'm very happy to be with you today. I believe that the workshop will be very informative for everyone because we will be exchanging insights. So this workshop mainly it explores the potential of AI to create new job opportunities and ensure economic stability while addressing the challenges that we have today while we are working with automation. In addition, this workshop will also help to uncover how AI can help to create more quality jobs and better working conditions, which I believe they are two crucial issues that we have today in today's world. Many organizations, they need to promote fairness in compensation, which will foster also an exclusive sustainability economic growth. This is, in general, what we'll be talking about today. So first, we will have our introductions. I would like to hear from you. I'd like to know maybe briefly from each table who you are and what you are looking for while attending the workshop. So we can start.
Sure. My name is Kara Constant. I have a human resources technology company, and so this is part of what we do as well. And I'm also part of sitting here. This table is where the pay parity and corporate transformation of the D100 to advance women in the workplace.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here. I'm part of G100, and I'm also working for the University of Luxembourg. And I also have a non-profit to advance women empowerment and girls in recent careers.
Hello everyone, my name is Kash. I work in the AI and digital field. I'm in sales, so I sell technologies that are able to help digitally transform the governments and enterprises. And I'm here to learn more about how maybe women can be treated better in the world of tech. I'm very curious to learn about that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Lucia Bizita. I am an executive, especially in the area of advocacy and implementation. I'm also the global chair of the G100 wing for pay parity and corporate transformation. And so with other two members of our wing, we're happy to be here and learn how to use AI to overcome the issues.
Thank you. Please.
My name is Elsa Scholte. I'm the Director of Communications of Solidaridad Network. We're working to make agricultural supply chains more sustainable, working mainly with small-scale farmers and workers, and also looking at how they can earn a living wage. So I was interested in that topic.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Iko Esone from New York. I'm the Director of Architecture and Sustainability, so looking for something more the sustainable solution here.
Welcome.
I'd like to skip the introduction.
No problems.
Hi everyone, I'm Daniela Webostak. I work at Thomson Reuters Foundation. We have two disclosure initiatives looking at corporate responsibility, corporate disclosure initiatives. One is based on workforce issues, and we collect that data on behalf of an investor signatory network. And we've just worked with UNESCO to develop a similar survey based on AI governance, which also a section of that survey looks at overlapping between sustainability and workforce management. So quite interesting today.
Hello, I'm Wen. I'm advocacy and studies in machine learning and market policy at Boston, doing research actually in Saad. I'm really interested in the topic today because I'm thinking about how we can work out AI implementations in the workplace. There's a lot of
Hi, I'm Kahan. I have a biotechnology background actually, and I'm curious about AI and important.
Hello everyone, I'm Ceci from Digital Switzerland. We're a digitalization organization based in Switzerland, and we're currently looking into doing a study on the effects of AI on the Switzerland specifically, which is why I'm here to learn more.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Britta. I'm Social Impact Director at a global company doing everything from mining to metals production. So lots of things to do and also very interested in leveraging AI for the social impact side.
And I'm Nadia, and I'm from Germany.
Hi, my name is Young, although I am Asian. And I work at a digital transformation team of my organization. As always, transformation is opportunity and at the same time risk. And my job is to advocate its opportunistic side. So I am here to learn more and get some more insights to persuade my colleagues in South Korea. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Palle. I'm from WWF in Sweden. I'm an AI strategist here to learn more about productivity and digital transformation. And my colleague here.
Yeah, hi everyone, my name is Meet. Likewise, nice to meet you, Meet, same thing. But I'm with WWF International and innovation and AI lead over there. So just keen on hearing more about how this impacts organizations, and we are kind of experimenting a lot right now, productivity and the impact side of AI can be embedded more clearly within the organizations. Also open to talking more post-workshop for collaborations and conversations further than that. Yeah.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm working on the enterprise development, specifically on productivity and working conditions issues in the co-convened.
Hi, I'm Boon. I'm from Family Associates, a corporate advisory firm. And this is where we combine think tank insights and together with AI solutions. And we serve local governments. And one of the part is we serve some of the underserved community, where helping them to take part in the global supply chain, and which one of the section or part sector is actually creating job opportunities for the underserved. So yes, I'm interested in this topic.
You're welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Adi. I'm from Chicago, the United States. I'm the data and insights manager of a nonprofit called Lever for Change. We're incubated in a big foundation called the MacArthur Foundation, and we connect really rich people and family offices to projects. So we're exploring AI and how to make the application process more simple for people applying for grants, so that we could collect information from various sources and they don't have to keep reapplying. So that organizations could spend more time doing the work instead of the paperwork.
Very insightful. Thank you for being here.
My name is Monty. I work for PEPS, for the political foundation of the European Socialist Party, and I lead a research project focusing on the impact of AI in the Nordics, working with Nordic trade unions to look at issues like applicant management, collective bargaining processes, productivity growth, and how workers can benefit from all of that. So very curious to learn more.
Welcome. Please, introductions. Yeah.
I'm Amir Rashid, head of cyber defense and IT at AlBawardi.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Fadwa. I work for IGEM Foundation, it's a non-profit foundation in the field of synthetic biology.
Introductions?
Yes, my name is Omar Al-Amar. I'm MCIT Minister from Kuwait. I'm here to listen.
Welcome. And your title?
Good afternoon. My name is Mehdi Mashulafan. I work for the South African government, Department of Communications and Technologies. I am responsible for the areas of AI, especially the governance and policy development. Yeah, I like it.
Perfect. Welcome to everyone. I'm very happy that you are all here. I can see that we are talking about diverse backgrounds, which make the workshop even more valuable. So now we are talking about the introductions. Everyone introduced themselves. And for the agenda of today, I'm going to talk a little bit about Saudi Arabia, about the national AI ecosystem in Saudi Arabia, And then we're going to hear a little bit about the AI ecosystems in your country, especially that we are talking about many countries today. Then we will be talking about the transformative power of AI and the risks and opportunities. And this is part where everyone is interested in, because we'll be talking about the current challenges and how we can overcome them. We'll go through some statistics from World Economic Forum, international labor organizations, and others. And then we'll be talking exclusively about an open discussion for fair wages and inclusive growth. There will be some exercises that we'll be conducting, so the workshop should be interesting to everyone. First, we're going to talk about the national AI ecosystem in Saudi Arabia. This diagram, it actually summarizes the ecosystem in Saudi Arabia. So when we kick off with a quick look at AI ecosystem and how AI is transforming Saudi Arabia, there's a strategic vision for Saudi Arabia where we aim to become a leading hub for AI innovation, aligning with our vision, Vision 2030, in order to diversify the economy in Saudi Arabia and foster technological advancements. The key initiatives that we have in Saudi Arabia, and we are very proud to have that, first is SADAYA. It's the Saudi Data and AI Authority. And this is a leading national effort to develop AI infrastructure and application. We also have cities, smart cities, that we are currently building, including NEOM and The Line, which they are like an example of smart city projects that include AI in the infrastructure for sustainability, mobility, and urban planning. Also, we have AI in government services. We are also proud to say that we have a smart government infrastructure which streamlines healthcare, education, and public services through intelligent systems. For the opportunities and challenges, we are creating new jobs in technology, data science sectors, machine learning, and so on. And we are also ensuring AI benefits, that they are inclusive and ethically deployed. So we have our own policies in Saudi Arabia regarding AI governance. We are also addressing the skills gaps and fostering innovation. We have many entities in Saudi Arabia that support innovations, especially in AI. As you can see, there are 8 entities in the ecosystem, in the AI ecosystem in front of you. These 8 entities, they explain the whole national AI ecosystem, and these entities, they are all interconnected. So first, if we go to the first one, number 1, you can see it's leadership and regulation. This is where SADAYA comes from, where the Ministry of Communication comes from, and we have the NDMO and the other entities for cybersecurity and so on. So this is the leadership and regulation entity. Number 2, we have the research, skills, deployment for skills, and development for skills. This is where we have entities like universities and academies. And then we have 3 in the ecosystem. This is the industry, AI, and startups. This is where we have Ilm, where we have autonomous, where we have STC solutions, and so on. And number 4, we have the emerging technologies. The emerging technologies, these are the entities that support SMEs, the small and medium enterprises, like Munsha'at, Dhaka, and so on. And then we have the 5th part, which is the global tech partnerships and strategic alliances. This is where we have all the partnerships with Microsoft, IBM, Oracle, and so on. And we have number 6, the national initiatives and events. These are the entities that create all the exhibitions, the conferences, the summits. I'm sure you have heard about LEAP. I'm sure you have heard about other conferences and summits that take place in Saudi Arabia, and it gathers everyone from all over the world. We have number 7, the funding and capital enablement. This is where we have Mudun, where we have SVCs, where we have the investments and the planning for the investments. And number 8, we have the community enablement and ecosystem connectors. These are the entities that actually connect stakeholders, with the various innovators. This is the ecosystem in Saudi Arabia. This slide, it's like one of the most important slides that we have back home, because this shows you how we are mapping the whole ecosystem, how all the different stakeholders are coming together in order to develop the AI and the innovation in Saudi Arabia. So I wanted to start with this slide. Now, let's move on to the AI ecosystem and the digital economy ecosystem when we are associating it with the AI. Now, as you know, the digital economy, we have four main elements. The first one is the key defining trends. And we have the emerging technologies. That's where AI is part of it. This includes all the emerging technologies like 5G and the future 6G, the cloud, IoT, AI, and so on. We have the key enablers. Data is a key enabler. And we have the new business models like fintech, digital government, e-commerce, and so on. Data and AI, they are very much interconnected. We cannot have AI strategy without having a data strategy. And we always keep on mentioning this because some organizations, they are very ambitious about having their own AI infrastructure, their own ecosystem for building AI, and they sometimes ignore the fact that without having a valid data management, data governance, and data strategy, you will never be able to have a successful AI strategy. Okay, now AI and jobs. I want some of you to mention for me a keyword. When we say AI and jobs, what is the word that comes to your mind? For example, I'll just give you a hint. For example, some people will say AI and jobs, it's opportunity. Some people will say it's disruption. Some people will say it's uncertainty. So what comes to your mind when we say AI and jobs? Does Enya?
To me, it's hybrid teams.
Okay, perfect. What else? Yeah?
Upskilling.
Upskilling, good.
Needs change because it's constantly changing the requirements of the market.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Definitely.
I would think of a transition.
Transition. Okay. Amazing. These are all valid keywords, and they really sync with what we have in mind when it comes to AI and jobs. Okay, so when we talk about AI as transformation, as transformative power, and what are the opportunities that it is offering? First, AI boosts productivity, and it drives innovation and economic growth. Okay, everybody agrees on that. Now, if we talk about the different channels where AI boosts productivity, we can talk about how it automates repetitive and routine tasks. Everybody is happy with that. When we're talking about generative AI, we get answers with one click. We don't have to really do a lot of research. Everything is answered to us. Human workers, they need now to focus on the quality and not to do some boring and routine tasks. Also, we have AI-driven predictive analytics that help decision makers to make the right decisions if the data is accurate. Also, we have, as you know, some risks associated with AI. First one is the job displacement and inequality. When we talk about AI and job displacement, while AI can actually boost productivity, it also poses challenges such as job losses, especially when we are talking about warehouses where some major organizations are replacing workers with robots. One major organization in its warehouses, they are replacing human beings with 600,000 robots in the warehouses. So we are talking about major change in jobs, and which causes actually job losses. If we are talking about some inequalities that AI is posing, we have some sectors that are actually suffering right now from inequality and job losses. So what are the sectors with a higher risk of job loss and displacement? due to AI. I would say first it would be manufacturing, assembly line workers. One major enterprise, as I mentioned, is using hundreds of thousands of robots. Retail, when we're talking about cashiers, inventory clerks, transportation and logistics, truck drivers, delivery couriers. Right now we are replacing them with drones. Customer service, call centers, agents, administrative and clerical work such as data entry, also receptionists, customer services, they are now chatbots, finance and banking, we are now also looking and experiencing some changes with jobs in that area, and agriculture. Right now we are depending on harvesting laborers, crop pickers that are robots. These sectors are particularly vulnerable because AI and automation technologies can actually perform these repetitive and routine tasks very efficiently, better than human beings. And that's why humans are replaced in these jobs. Now, if we talk about AI and inequality, AI use in jobs can actually cause inequality because it often leads to the automation of routine tasks, which disproportion effectively the workers in lower income and less educated positions. You would find that, according to the international reports, the employees who are actually having lower income, they are the ones who are being replaced, unfortunately. So as AI technologies favors the skilled labor and those with access to technology and training, it can widen the gap between the different socioeconomic groups. And this actually happens in life. And this leaves us behind with marginated communities, unfortunately, and increasing overall inequality. And those who are working on research papers, as you have mentioned in the introductions, who are actually focused on these inequalities, they will find many, many cases in many different countries where this is actually the case, unfortunately. People are very happy with the transformation of AI, and sometimes they ignore the human side and the impact of AI, especially on lower income individuals. So, some sectors with high risks of increased inequality, they could be also manufacturing and industry, because these are usually low income workers, retail and whole-scale trade, transportation and logistics like truck drivers, financial services, the bank tellers and so on, as also the data entry clerks, and media and content creations. Right now we are having content moderators that are being replaced totally by tools instead of human beings. Even the creativity right now is being replaced with robots and tools. These sectors and roles are at a higher risk because AI-driven automation and algorithms can actually replace and significantly alter many traditional job functions, potentially widening the socioeconomic disparities, as I have mentioned. Now, talking again about the opportunities. AI offers opportunities for inclusive development and new job creation. I know we are talking about, it's like a balance. We are talking about opportunities versus risks. Now, going back again to the opportunities, we do have some new job creations due to AI. So it's not all black. We are having actually some light in there. So the positive side of AI is that it can create new types of employment that wasn't there before. It can improve access to services, and it can support inclusive growth, especially if it's harnessed with equitable policies. For example, AI-powered telemedicine platforms, they can improve healthcare to a large extent, healthcare access for remote and underserved communities. This is a major factor where AI can actually help. It can support medical staff through remote services. Agriculture is another sector where AI-driven precision farming helps the small-scale farmers to increase the jobs through the yields, through reducing costs, through opening roles for data analysis and drone operation in agriculture, which can help to a major extent. If you are having a robot, the robot can actually test the soil. It can tell you the condition of the soil. It can detect diseases in some crops before it even deteriorates. So there are many, many potential for using AI in agriculture as one of the sectors. Now, if we are talking about the links of AI and economy to the SDGs, we actually have 3 main UN SDGs. Our focus today is in Goal 5, which is decent work and economic growth. However, we have 2 other SDGs, Goal number 9, which is industry, innovation, and infrastructure, as well as Goal 10, which is reduced inequalities. Today, we are focusing on Goal 8. Now, how do we align with the International Labour Organization, the ILOs, especially the future of work, the progress, and the principles that are associated with ILO? We have some initiative emphasis on the ILO as being human-centric, inclusive, and sustainable work. So, if we focus on human-centric principles, this will help us to create initiatives that can advocate for a human-centric approach to technological change. What will be good? As we are mentioning in the summit, AI for good. What is good for humanity? And how we can reach sustainable work environments. This will include promoting decent work for all, addressing inequalities, and ensuring that the technological advancement and other transformative benefits everyone. As you can see in the slide, these are 24 sectors where AI can be adopted. 24. And I like this slide very much because with every sector, it has got some example use cases for how AI can be used. This is one of my favorite slides. I like to show this in many of my presentations. So as you can see in this diagram, some of the use cases, for example, if we're talking about healthcare and people who are interested in healthcare, you can see that we have autonomous surgical robots. We have automated disease identification and diagnosis. We have personalized treatments. These are all use cases for AI in healthcare. We have drug discovery. We have automation of routine tasks, such as X-rays, CT scans, even data entry. We have virtual doctors and surgeons. I'm not sure about dentists. I would highly doubt dentists. I will never use a robot as a dentist replacement. It's going to be very critical. And also, we can use AI for epidemic outbreak prediction. One of the projects that I have worked in back home in Saudi Arabia, it was during COVID. There was a national project where Saudi Arabia was working on a major project that combines several entities in order to predict the number of COVID cases in Saudi Arabia in the next few months, as well as the percentage of ICU beds, that the utilization of ICU beds to accommodate for these predicted cases. At that time, I was responsible for the data quality team. And those of you who have worked with data, they would imagine what a big task that would be, because if you are gathering data in order to create analysis, accurate analysis through AI, this is not an easy job. You need to get accurate data, you need to get complete data, you need to get sufficient data. There are many elements for how you can make sure that your data is of high quality in order to come up with correct predictions. This project, I'm very proud that I took part of it. We worked in it for about 7 or 8 months, and we managed to get some predictions which helped. And the power of this national project is that the predictions was not only focused on like Riyadh or the capital or the big cities. We also targeted the hospitals all over in Saudi Arabia, including the remote areas. It was a major experience. Okay, so now we will start with the first exercise. It's a scenario simulation, the AI impact debate. What we would need to do with this exercise is to get you engaged. I'm sure you have very valuable insights that you would like to share with us. We will divide the participants into mainly two groups. One group will be representing the optimistic stakeholder, emphasizing the potential of AI for job creation and inclusive growth. The other group will move to the other side, and they will be representing cautious stakeholders that will be highlighting the risks of job displacement and widening inequality. Each group will prepare their arguments, and we would love to hear real case scenarios, something that you have faced actually in your work or your organization. We want this to be like a practical argument. So the side that supports AI with jobs will be on the left side. The other group will be on the right side. And then we will have like 15 minutes to come up with those scenarios. And then one representative from each group will be actually debating with the other representative. Okay? So we would like to start this now. We'll give you 15 minutes, and then we will talk again. Okay, time is up. Each group, kindly, can you nominate one person? Time is up. Thank you so much. I know the discussion is involving time. However, we'd like to have one representative from the cons table and one representative from the pros. So who would you like to start? And I'm going to give you the mic so you can.
Okay, so we quickly agreed that AI in principle can do a lot of great things. There's no doubt about it. And it can be much more effective than any human being in doing many tasks. So we had some good examples of that. For example, security guards who can be 24 hours on the job and don't miss a thing, don't make mistakes, don't have cigarette breaks, don't have lunch breaks, don't protest. It's great news for employers. However, we saw also a big downside of people losing their jobs, people with little education, especially in low and middle income countries, where a large part of the population depends on unskilled labor, and they will lose their income. And basically, there's no good security system in most countries. And what you see is that the corporations get richer and richer because their labor getting cheaper because it's replaced by AI. But none of that money is flowing back into any like income for the people who lose their jobs. So that was a real concern. Some other things that were mentioned are that we also have a concern about education. We learn less things because we use AI for more things, so we're concerned about the new generation and their intellectual capacities. Another thing that was mentioned is that, yes, this has happened before with the Industrial Revolution, but this time it's going to be much more painful because of the speed of it, which is exponential and never seen before. Anything else that?
Mid-career, not only young people being, their capacity diminished, but also mid-career people out of jobs, forever. Also, social protections no longer needed for automatized in sites or industries, and there's also a lowering of the need for social protection to all the other sectors of society. And also we had, developing countries, if we call it this, also going bankruptcy because they cannot count on the remittances of their people working abroad. And what else? Yes.
Okay, very insightful. Thank you so much. Now let's take this discussion further. Do you think there are any current policies that are existing that can help to overcome these challenges? Or we are still having gaps and this is going nowhere. We don't have any solution to all these challenges. What do you think?
So my thoughts on that, because EU Act, for example, that we have here in Europe, and it's the strictest one, it's true that there's Article 4 talking about AI literacy, but it's a super small article about that. It's not very clear. I think 1 month or 2 months ago, European Commission came with a Q&A section about that, but still, there's precision about we need to educate our employees, but how and on what exactly, there are no really clear guidelines. And I see a lot of gaps because I do it by myself at my company. And I see a lot of people, as I mentioned before, everything what they see, it's ChatGPT, everything. So they don't really distinguish, or they're not really clear about what AI is. Okay. And yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Now let's move to the second table, the pros. Okay, please go ahead.
So one of the things we're seeing in the open source community and some consortiums forming around data as an asset, and so if you're displacing roles, how do you start to monetize the data? For large language models and AI to work, you need more and more data and without reversion to the mean. And I'm starting to see all sorts of different frameworks for this. Some are cartels and guilds and that kind of thing. But the experiment here, and I'm curious to see where it lands, is how do you start to potentially incentivize workers that are in current roles to help train the AI, but gain some kind of long-term benefit from that training through the data that they create? I'm not sure I'm completely bullish on the economic model there, and I'm glad it's being tried in the private sector and the open source community. I think that's a rapid way to get there. But it's one of the most fascinating things I see out in the ecosystem, because it does get to the core of future value creation, not necessarily being parked in widgets and the production of widgets, but in the production of capabilities.
Perfect. I totally agree with you. I would like also to add one more point when it comes to open data, is the data poisoning. Data poisoning is one of the major risks that we are having whenever we talk about data and training algorithms, because this is an actual issue that we are having. It surpassed the risk. It's an actual issue, and it's skewing the results of algorithms all over the place. So really, thank you so much. Please. Yes, data poisoning is when you have clean data, however, some hacker goes into your system and he starts inserting records that are wrong, inaccurate, so it will actually skew the results. You will end up with inaccurate analytics or inaccurate results, which can actually mislead the decision makers. They would think that it's one direction while the reality is another direction. You can actually detect this through outliers. However, it's not always the case, especially if you're talking about big data. Sometimes it can be really tricky.
And is the term used mostly for intentional manipulation?
Yes. Yes. It's usually malicious. It's usually, yes, unfortunately. Please. Yeah.
So they ask about the prompt injection. Is it like part of it or something?
It's part of it. It's part of it, yes. Yes. Okay. Anything you'd like to add more from this table? All right. Thank you so much. Great, insightful discussions. Please. So who would like to represent the table? You can have more than one representative. Okay. Please. You have the mic with you? Oh, there's a mic.
Okay, so we mentioned that there is a first wave in which that all these negative issues can appear, but then there's a second wave. You learn from the mistakes and the biases and so on, and then you can overcome the problems that it created with the second generation. Then there needs to be a distinction between AI being used and so at work, it's not like you go and look for it in ChatGPT. So there needs to be an implementation program. There needs to be how to do properly education, the skills, the upskilling of the people needs to be proper, and that way is how you get there. And we also compare with the Industrial Revolution as well, yes? Looking at this happened a few hundred years ago. People were discussing the same thing, and let's kill all the machines. And look where we are now. And there are so many things. For example, now it's your turn.
Thank you, Carol. So I want to add up about the AI adoption program. So productivity, and that was also my fault when I said generative AI will enhance your productivity. Actually, it won't if you don't know how to use it. And when you're doing at the enterprises or small and medium companies and enterprises, you are starting with AI security, so you're ensuring the infrastructure is secured for integrating the solutions. The case studies are coming within the companies because we have curious people that they already try ChatGPT for, for a diet, for exercises, for planning the work, the trip and stuff. And they're like, oh, that would be cool to use it at work. So, and how you're doing it? You are doing AI lab. We are discussing different things, and usually these initiatives are coming from marketing, sales, where I'm working, and product. So, and then when I'm sharing it with dev, I could have done the same thing. And then you are polishing this case study, you're bringing to the stakeholders, and okay, go for it. And afterward, this is how it should be done. We are expecting from generative AI to be something really functioning super well, but it's basically MVP. So we are managing this MVP with our own hands. So it's super minimum viable product. And that's all from AI adoption program.
Perfect. Thank you for the insights. Go ahead, please.
Thank you for your great insights. Thanks to you, now I am a bit cautious. And first thing, what came to my mind was a carbon tax. Carbon taxation, maybe all of you have heard about it. It goes like this. If entity generates too much carbon, we impose tax on them, right? So I think if an entity make too much profit using their AI, I think we can impose some taxation, and using that taxation, we can do something good for the public open data, which will be the ingredients for the public AI. And data poisoning was also very interesting, and first time to heard of it. But after that, what came to my mind was a cleaner. What I mean is, in the public space, the government hire cleaners so they can clean, and the government pay them from the people's tax. And now, in this current contemporary age, the software environment is as important as the physical environment. So using that AI tax, something like carbon tax, we can hire people and train them, maybe youngsters, so they can clean our open data, so the public AI can run on it. That came to my mind, and I wanted to share those ideas to you guys. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Is there any other points you'd like to share with us? Any point of views?
Are we also discussing how it can influence their health?
You can, yes.
Can you talk about this?
Yes. Use robotic to improve health and protect environment, trees, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Perfect. Yes, I believe it's so true with the healthcare sector. So do you want to add anything? We can move on. All right. Now we are going to talk about some statistics from the Future of Jobs Report 2025, World Economic Forum. The creation of new jobs is expected to be equivalent to 14% of today's total employment, that's amounting to 170 million jobs. However, this growth is expected to be offset by the displacement of the equivalent of 8% or 92 millions of current jobs, resulting in net growth of 7% of total employment or 78 million jobs. That's based on technological automation, AI, Gen AI, and other related factors. Another report, this is from the ILO, it mentions that AI is more likely to transform jobs than eliminate them entirely. An estimate of 2.3% of employment, or about 75 million jobs, is at risk of automation because of high exposure to generative AI technology, while 1 in 4 jobs are at risk of being transformed by generative AI. If you would look at these figures, these are from the ILO report, that's latest report, 20th of May, 2025. You can see over here the standard deviation. These are the job levels of exposure to AI. The red ones, as you can see, there are various colors. I'm going to read it for you. The various colors, the red ones, these are the jobs with the highest exposure, the red jobs. These are the most likely to be replaced by AI as per the ILO report, including, for example, the contact center salespersons. The yellow color, it's mild exposure as standard deviation, and this mild exposure for jobs with AI, it's training and staff development professionals, for example. The blue color, they are the safe side, the safe jobs. For example, the air traffic controllers, it's kind of difficult and very risky to replace them with AI due to the major risks and dangers that could result from that. In one of the discussions that I have heard, and I totally agree with, there are 2 levels to adopting AI. The first level is the assessment and the predictions. The second level, which is the highest level, this is the judgment. So when we are talking about assessment and predictions, AI can actually do that, and it can analyze data very quickly, big data, and everything will be totally okay using AI. However, when it comes to judging and to really judge if the results are accurate or not, until now, AI cannot really judge itself. So the judgment layer is still being done by humans, and it's still needed by humans. The ILO report, I would highly recommend this report, especially those who are conducting some research, because it contains detailed information about various types of jobs. These are only like samples of what there is in the report, just to give you an idea of how detailed this report is. It's really excellent. Please.
Maybe a question there. You mentioned beforehand that it mainly affects low-skilled workers.
Yes.
I don't remember the studies, but there are also studies that show that it also has a huge effect on white-collar workers, right?
That's totally
Could you
true.
maybe,
Yes.
elaborate on that?
Yes, I totally agree. And there are actually some research that is being done regarding this point as well, the white collar and the low income jobs. If you would like, after the workshop, if you can contact me, I can share with you some links related to those specific studies. It will be very helpful because, yes, and I believe, honestly, that the research that is being done is good. However, right now, there are no proposed solutions to overcome these challenges, unfortunately. We don't have like an accountable entity that can help to overcome these economic challenges, especially when it comes to bias, especially when it comes to inequality, especially when it comes to job replacement, gender inequality, and so on. So I believe that we can do a lot of research. However, where is the solution? How can we actually overcome these issues? Moving forward, AI for fair wages and inclusive growth. AI, it helps to analyze wage data across sectors and regions. This is a project. If somebody is interested to actually maybe work on such a project to gather wage data across different sectors, regions in a specific country, this can actually be a high value project where you can analyze the wage data between males, females, gender, different sectors, and then you can identify patterns and disparities and inform targeted interventions regarding those results. AI-powered tools can support fair wage negotiations and can monitor compliance with labor standards as long as we have the data. In addition, I would like to mention that AI is very good in recognizing patterns and identifying disparities using analysis such that policymakers can actually pinpoint the areas and the groups that are experiencing wage gaps or having less precise and effective policy responses towards these kind of groups, and then AI can help to generate insights that can guide those policymakers into taking proper actions. The insights also can help to forecast the future trends and inform policy options and targeted interventions. If you do this, if you, for example, use this policy, what can happen? What are the predictions? What are the consequences? The tools, AI-powered tools, can actually support fair wage negotiations. It can help with the predictions. However, again, I'm going to stress on this again, who's accountable, who can create and who can use these tools, and who can actually create policies in order to improve with the labor market. This is very important. In addition, I believe that personalized training platforms that are powered by AI, it can help to marginalize groups across tailored trainings in order to improve their employability, to detect where are the weaknesses that we are having in the market based on AI replacing jobs, and then we can target those sectors, whether they are low income or white collar, and then we can readdress, we redirect them into better opportunities in the workplace. For example, is an AI-based wage gap analysis that can enable policymakers to design more equitable wage policies that can contribute to a more fair income distribution and social stability. These are all facilitated by technology. However, again, who is accountable into actually making actions based on the AI tools? AI can be like an important weapon. However, who is using it in the right way? Now we have another exercise. It's a policy simulation. It's about designing an AI-driven wage equity initiative. We would need to divide into groups. Each group will be 3 to 5 participants. Now the government wants to leverage AI tools to design an effective policy to promote wage fairness and reduce inequality in your country, okay? We need you to think about it, how you can develop a basic policy framework that will incorporate AI technologies in order to address wage disparities. You need to identify what are the types of data that you are going to have in your data set, what could be examples of tools and applications, as well as what could be examples of interventions or programs and implementation and oversight. We would need a representative from each group to present their policy proposal. So let's divide into 3 to 5 people in each group, and then we can discuss. I'm going to give you just an example for this kind of policy framework, just to give you a hint. For example, if you are going to collect demographic data that includes gender, ethnicity, education level, the social background, education background, and so on. And then you can use this AI algorithm to analyze the data for wage gaps. You can use this data set in order for you to know what would be the wage gaps, the current wage gaps, and the predicted future wage gaps, especially with using AI, and what would be the employment patterns. You can use specific sectors, for example. You can talk about your country and choose one specific sector, and you can be creative and you can imagine what would be the data set for that. Let me give you another example. If you are talking about, for example, Nigeria, and you are talking about agriculture in Nigeria, you can have your data set. It would be the farmers, the age, the areas of the land, the education, and how AI is helping, whether it's promoting in Nigeria the wage, or it is actually causing it a negative impact on the farmers. For example, you can use also as AI tools, you can think about, for example, personalized trainings if you're talking about education as a sector. Like, you can be creative, just choose the country, choose the sector, and then come up with the data, what would be the data set that you are going to discuss in that sector, and what is the impact of AI, and how you can use AI in order to help with the wage disparities. Remember, our focus is wage disparity. This is the main objective. And then we would like you to come up with this kind of implementation, like how you can improve that sector, how you can improve the wages for that sector, and whether AI is ethically used or not. So you also need to identify your stakeholders. Like, if you're talking about agriculture, who are the stakeholders in agriculture, education, and so on. So let's start. You can work as tables. And what we would need at the end is to have a representative to present your policy proposal for that sector in that country. And we have about 20 minutes for this exercise. Okay, time is up. Everyone? The time is up, please, everyone. Thank you. So, can we start now? Let's hear from the different tables. We'll start with you guys. So, please, go ahead. You have a mic? Can we share kindly the mic? Thank you.
We support you. Hello, everyone.
It's very articulate.
Hello, everyone. We decided to focus on developing a policy for agriculture for coffee farmers in Kenya. And we decided to set out with looking at the first requirement of the task, which is types of data sets that we'd identify. We decided that we would focus on the workers first, the guys who are on the ground collecting the coffee beans, because that's where most of the disparity lies. These guys are most of the times not very educated. Some of them are immigrants who may have taken a boat to get to this country, and they're exploited by farmers, because at the end of the day, the farmer is a businessman. So we decided that we would understand their demographics, so age, maybe where they were born, their citizenship status, their years of experience, the type of contracts they would have, their gender, their employment type, and then we would move on to the frequency of the crop yield, and whether or not pesticides are being used, which region they're working in, the country that they're working in, and if they work with pesticides or chemicals, just to understand also the environment that they're being exposed to every day. And then we'd also look at the stakeholders, moving on to who are the key players in the specific country area. It could be the farmer, it could be the unions, it could be the suppliers, and then we would move on to making sense of this data. And how would we do that? We'd do that using basic stuff like WhatsApp and OCR.
To us, AI generally means automating things, right? So artificial intelligence is a very fancy word and it's used in many ways. But at the end of the day, it's about creating efficiencies in the way data is handled and managed. So OCR and basic ways to gather data, qualitative and quantitative data effectively, will help us gather the information. And also, a very key part of this will be understanding different types of languages, because these workers come from diverse backgrounds. So the AI that we use, the language models that are being used to recognize their feedback, will need to incorporate and cover all the languages that they speak. We will then move into implementation and insights. So because the data gathered will be quite big in size, we'll need to have a model of data that's able to identify the data into different subsets, divide it into different subsets, and then give us a consensus on what the current situation looks like. We could also use the current contracts and current reports that already exist with the unions or with the different associations in the industry or with the different stakeholders, collect all that information, and then through AI we could get an understanding of the current situation. But this is just a starting point. Of course, humans are going to be involved in designing the policy and also implementing it. We will look forward to tools like ChatGPT, which we also decided to use and incorporate and give us ideas in this exercise. But we decided that we'd look forward to what AI says we should do, but we'll focus on transparency of data, so creating a feedback loop so that the workers can talk about whether or not the implementation of this framework is helping them. It could be just something as simple as an app, which everyone is capable of using. Could be done through WhatsApp as well, because it's able to connect to apps. And it could also result in maybe a certification that helps in maybe creating tax breaks for some of the farmers who are capable of showing this or getting access to this certificate. So the certificate would basically say that this farmer or this region is treating its workers well. There's low disparity. There is high wage fairness and low inequality. And with this report, he's able to basically get monetary incentives or tax breaks, because at the end of the day, that's the biggest motivator for most people and businesses. And that's it. Would you like to add something?
Just quickly add also, currently there are fair trade certification systems, but we think with an AI model and something that government policy encourages, that fair trade certification could happen for much faster and cheaper. So it would encourage more agribusinesses to participate and also speed the time of getting verified so that there are less laborers working in poor conditions, because the audits happen more frequently. So.
Perfect. And you can use also surveys as a source of gathering information, or you can get the information directly from these workers. This will be also an addition. I like your idea very much. I like it because simply based on the data that you will gather, you can even expose more issues that these workers are facing. We are talking about wages. However, maybe you can even find, based on this information, even worse scenarios. For example, they are working under long hours under the sun. For example, their health, nobody is caring about their health care and so on. So you can even have more and more research about those workers and how you can improve life for them. So thank you very much. Excellent work. Thank you. Please, let's hear from you.
Hi. I'm a bit stressed, but we've chosen Switzerland and the industry manufacturing. What is the challenge is, first of all, the lower representation of women in this industry and pay gap. So I will start with the data sources. Data sources are statistical data on the federal level and continental level about the salaries. About the salaries. Information from the university, like EPFL, ATZ, University of Fribourg in engineering. So, and more specifically is the graduate journey. So, how many women applied, and afterwards, what is the career track? And the another data source is industry reports. In Big Four leadership reports, pay gap specifically for this industry. Tool that we could use, it's available LLM, so we could use available by OpenAI. And other tools, it's the Pulse survey that are done as at the university. I think I want to stress more on this journey. So there should be the survey sent to the graduates, how they're advancing in the career, and also at the small and medium enterprises, this manufacturing sector. Stakeholders are representatives from cantonal and federal level, industry leaders, unions, academia from the university that I've mentioned, and civil societies. So, and how the government is going to interfere in that? We see that the women are in STEM. There are a lot of programs in STEM for graduates or for people who want to study it. So what we see, the merge program between University EPFL, HEZ, and businesses in manufacturing, where there is a special program created for female leadership, female ideation for manufacturing products. It's partially supported by businesses because they are looking for cool ideas that will generate the income, but also by the government. And another cherry on the top from the government side is to increase the paternity leave in Switzerland.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Anything to add?
You were telling before that because of the AI now in the manufacturing.
Yes.
You don't need the.
Do you want to say that?
No.
Okay. So what we say that with robotics AI coming into manufacturing, there is less and less labor work, and the entry level to this industry is much lower because there are more people who know how to use AI, LLM, robotics than this heavy machinery. So the entry level for women is lower.
Okay, this is amazing. I think this is a real life example. And I would like to know from you how you think policies can actually be used to improve the current status quo. Are there currently any policies?
Actually, I'm not sure about policies because I'm not working in this domain. But you can say. But I can mention that there are a lot of programs with engineering school and businesses. I haven't seen any in manufacturing, but that would help to bring more women into it.
Okay.
Yeah, just to briefly reflect also our discussion, because I find this quite interesting. We chose an example from Switzerland, as you heard, but at our table we have people from the US and UK and different European Union countries and Switzerland. And we just realizing, talking about policies, how different our frameworks are. So the political system is, although very close, still very far away. So things that we take for granted in one country are not there in the other country. We can't do things in the one country that is done in other countries and all the way. So that shows again, like for the policies really, I believe we need to have very local solutions, while at the same time agree on certain principles that we can apply throughout.
Maybe to add there, so we discussed in Switzerland there are a lot of collective agreements for different industries or sectors. So that's kind of a minimal wage that you get for a specific job throughout the country. This doesn't exist, for instance, in Germany, but Germany has a minimum wage, a national one, which Switzerland only has in Geneva. So there's a lot of differences, but this is all policy making in progress.
And I would just add, in terms of policy, there's a gap in the need for, what we found is that there's a gap in terms of the knowledge of the data, and so there is another piece around transparency there and sourcing that information directly from companies, asking them to collect information on how many people, how many women they are employing, their backgrounds, and kind of their progress into leadership, and being able to disclose and report that.
Okay, that's quite interesting. Thank you for the insights. Some information new for me, so it's interesting to know. Thank you so much. Okay, would you like to share your insights?
So we stay in Switzerland, and the current policy for in IT. But regardless of the industry, the current policy for maternity paternity leave is 14 weeks for women and 2 weeks for men, which is, in comparison to the neighboring countries, not as much. And it does reflect in women's careers, as well as in men's potential suicide rate. And while they were talking, my brain was like, maybe also women's health. And therefore, we would like to change the policy to equal maternity paternity leave to 6 months, based on the AI analysis of the neighboring countries and their policies, which is year or more. The main players are, of course, the government, policymakers, corporations, then employee representatives, right? And within AI, we would like to track over time the impact of this policy change to the factors that we listed before, which is mainly women's career progress and health state of both men and women.
Thank you. Perfect. Please.
Yeah, I just wanted to add. So we focus on women and women in Switzerland, and Switzerland is a special case in Europe. I think that you might know about gender parity. So there is an expression that some of you might know is my German is, forget about it. So Kragenmutter, yes, so crow mothers, and that is an insult, and that is told to women who go back to work after having children. So if you compare with a country that is culturally similar, so Austria or Germany, the percentage of women is going part-time when they go back to work, or full-time is 70-30, is just exactly the opposite. So that's why we thought a way to, and also if you look at the Nobel Prize for Economy for 2023 on gender studies was exactly this, talking about the career is complete difference is from the first child. So that's why we thought, okay, so to reverse this, a way will be to implement the maternity and paternity leave. It is equal for both. Also because, as you mentioned, it's affecting men too. Men have the highest rate of suicide in history at this time, yeah? So we were just not for women, but for society in general. And that's all.
Thank you so much. Actually, you are mentioning very, very crucial subjects that need to be discussed and even further for research and enable policies in order to solve these problems, because I believe these are very critical to the society. Thank you so much. Kay, would like to hear from you.
Thank you. The time was too short. Our ideas are still nascent. But anyway, our group focused on gender disparity issue. Today in the morning, I took part in the speaking session delivered by the Amazon CTO, and he said, it's like making a new map. Identifying new data is quite similar with making a new map. Without the map data, you cannot explore the uncertainty. There exists a disparity, and we kept kept failing to solve the problem because we didn't have a proper map. So what we thought was we need to identify new data and identify new point of data collection, and on that place we need to establish a kind of platform. And let's say the platform will look like OpenStreetMap. Have you heard about the OpenStreetMap? Each of everyone can participate in making and updating the geographical data on that platform, OpenStreetMap. So just like that, we can update the working landscape on that new platform, so we can clearly see how the working condition of here and there look like, so we can identify and understand the situation more clearly. Then we can see where we are and how much unfair our working situation are. And that was the tool, OpenStreetMap thing. And intervention. We need to train people how to read a map. So considering the map data when they select their first job and job shifting, and then the government should go and check if the map and the reality are syncing. So just like the water and gas, the government send the examiners to your house and check it regularly to guarantee your safety. So the government can send some agent to check if the map is synchronized with your situation. But to use the AI technology, now we send not person agent, we send AI agent. Maybe all of you have some experience of talking, opening your very private matters not with your friend, but with ChatGPT. So with AI agent, each laborer can open their problem in their working condition to that agent. So collecting that agent, government can efficiently and successfully step in to correct the situation. That was what but mainly I thought about. And anything to add?
I think there should be more global coordination and cooperation regarding this issue. It should be, I would say, more developed public-private partnership, which could include not only like international organizations, but more governments, representatives of different companies, and it should be collected data and also some reports provided which could be useful for authorities, and as a result a more global response should be provided.
I agree totally, and I would like also to add one more point about the suicide point. Sometimes AI can actually cause more suicide among individuals, especially like low-income workers who use ChatGPT, some even children who use ChatGPT as their friend who they can talk to. There are some recorded cases of AI tools like ChatGPT that actually cause the suicide of individuals. So this is another side that we need also to maybe research one day. Food for thought, how we can balance AI innovation and equity in the context of using AI to boost productivity and fair wages. We can, for example, establish clear ethic guidelines to develop policies that can prioritize fairness, transparency, accountability in AI deployment. We can have inclusive data collection by using diverse data sets to minimize the biases and to ensure that AI benefits all demographic groups equally without forgetting any of them. We can have stakeholder engagements like you have mentioned, public and private partnerships. Also, we need to involve the different communities and ethicists, the specialized people in ethics, in decision making, to address some concerns regarding equity, gaps in wages. We need to upskill and reskill and invest in training programs to help this shift while using technology. What will happen to these workers, to those low-income workers? We need to help them and uplift them through trainings in order to create actually AI-driven changes and promote the progression for their wages in their new jobs. We need to have policies for fair compensations to ensure that the AI-driven productivity, it gains and translates into equitable wages and benefit for workers. And if there are no policies, if there are gaps, this needs to be addressed. And we need to monitor and audit regularly in order to assess the AI impacts on productivity and equity through reports like ILO and others, in order to make adjustments as needed and to address governments and to address communities and request them to improve. This is very important in the auditing. We need to promote transparencies by clearly communicating AI roles and its effect on work processes and wages to build trust and balance automation with human value. I would like to stress on the word human value. Human value is quite the core of everything that we should be doing and for technology. The final remarks: data and AI, they offer unprecedented opportunities for creating more productive, inclusive, and fair economics if they are used properly. However, responsible governance, ethical standards, and ongoing dialogue are essential to maximize benefits and minimize risks. We need to move forward, collaborate across sectors, borders. This is crucial to develop international standards, as you have mentioned, as well as best practices. And as researchers, international representatives, tech community, policymakers, economists, leadership is needed to shape how AI transforms society for the better. Each one of us has got a role. Each one of us can be a leader and can help to improve by pinpointing what are the issues and how we can address and solve them. In order to target issues such as unfair wages and so on. Thank you very much.